Okay, so Lyft. I found that it's easy to use. Comes with a tutorial, which very helpful, and it gives you at the very beginning, hey, here's what you're gonna expect. Here's how each thing is gonna go. Not necessarily with the customers, but with the app itself. The customers, that's an unforeseen variable that I get. The app won't be able to teach you about, but they even give you a few tips for that. I decided to do it at night because during the day there seems to be a lot of people trying to use it to make money, make a living, or anything like that. And when I went to the mechanic to try and get my car certified, he ended up saying that he has two couples that came in and they do it for a living, both of them. Which I think is a great thing, but my wife and I don't both do it because we only have one car, and we're not able to do it that much because we already have a child, which limits our time to drive by a lot. And my first experience was with a very nice lady of whom tipped very well. And it was a good trip, as in 45 minutes. Okay, yeah. That essentially sums that up. So it was about a trip from Oxnard to Burbank Airport. It was a 45-minute trip. It was pretty good. Made a good amount of money from it. And she actually ended up tipping about half of what it actually cost, which was really nice. She even gave cash tip as well, and that was the very first time, so I felt pretty good about it. Although, it's very rare to get a tip. You have the option in the app, as the writer, to be able to decide whether or not to tip after you've been dropped off. To give a review, like how many stars would you say their service was, and how much would you like to tip, if any, which I think is very useful. It's a great idea for the drivers, because that extra tip, even if it's $1, $2, $3, $4, $5, that really makes a difference. Because if your trip is only for, I don't know, 2 miles, it only takes about 5 minutes to go and do all that, or you see that the driver has to deal with a few things on the way there, it is a nice thing to tip them, you know, or her. There's a lot of issues with the GPS, such as, like, if a road is closed and it leads only into a one-way, or issues like that. The whole GPS situation doesn't really work because they're using Google Maps. Google Maps doesn't update with road work. It may say that it'll be a little longer to go through an area, but that one trip added a few miles and a lot of time to driving that one person. It's nothing that the app can really do about it, but it does make, or at least it made me, the driver, very uncomfortable with actually dealing with that. I felt like, oh, well, am I supposed to refund some of the money? Am I supposed to, should I do something nice? And it's part of the job. I mean, this is stuff that comes up, but I don't know what I'm supposed to do. That's essentially what I have to say about that. Some of the fares or the customers can have really odd smells that stick in your car. First day, I believe it was, that we were doing it, the lady ended up doing the Burbank Airport. She was nice. She didn't have like strong perfume or anything, but I believe it was immediately after that we got a fare that had an immense reek, or just smelled. It smelled like they just got out of a pothouse. Like they were smoking for at least a night or something. This guy had bloodshot eyes and everything. And I can see why he's not driving, because you shouldn't drive while high, drunk, anything like that. But, oh my god, the smell, it's stuck in the car. The good thing, though, is that the next fare actually had a really strong perfume that honestly just gave me a headache. And it was after her that we ended up just ending it, because we weren't getting any more fares or anything like that. We had to head home in order to take our daughter to school. So, yeah, that's definitely an issue. And I don't want to have it to where I'm driving someone and they think that I'm high, because I wouldn't do that. First of all, don't get high, don't get drunk. Well, been drunk once in my life. That, maybe if I ever do a vlog, I'll put that in there. But I have had people look at me in a disapproving way or a cautious way because of another person that smelt like weed sitting in the exact same seat that they are, and now they think that it's coming from me. Let's see. Lots of time having no fares / customers for a while. That is very true. I have, by the way, I wrote that down, so yeah, I'm agreeing with myself. Go figure. I have had about an hour without anyone there, and sometimes it's just like, what's it called? Maybe, I think the worst that it was is like a fare in 2 hours. Although, one of the nice, I guess, things about it is that after that, we ended up parking in like a Target parking lot and got a new fare that was really close in Moore Park. We ended up doing that, and turns out it was a 2-hour ride, which, that's a thing that Lyft could really improve upon. When they give you the 20 seconds, I think it is, which it should be at least 60, to click on the person to say, yeah, I'll take the fare. When they do that, they should have it to where they're like, hey, by the way, it's approximately this many miles away. It's about this many miles, it should take about this much time. And if they reference it in Google Maps, if the rider, the person in the back seat, ends up clicking the button, they should automatically get a approximation for the time, a guess for how much it should be, and how many miles. The information should be given, at least how many miles and how much time. Because if that was, say, 4 o'clock, it would be 6 o'clock, and that's the latest I would be out, because that's when I'd have to be home, give myself an hour to try and wake up enough, freaking slap myself awake, maybe chug a Monster, get my daughter ready for school, and, you know, get her to school by 9. So, fun times. But it was a 2-hour trip, and on that trip, I actually had an issue to where some weird, I think it was a tire or something, was in the middle of the road, I saw the car in front of me brake, and then they just kept going. I had no idea why. Could barely see because I'm driving at night. And then, I don't know, I just hear a clunk, and I feel it underneath me. It actually did damage to my car, to where the very front part is broken. Luckily, you can't see it unless you actually look for it. But right underneath the headlight, there's like this little area where you would expect there to be an air intake for the car, like the engine. But it's just this plastic little piece there that kind of dents in, almost like tear shape. And that part got snapped, just barely hanging in there. I wonder when that thing's going to come off. And I looked underneath the car. It seems like it dented the little pan too. So, lovely. And if you heard about my other video, or if you saw my other video from the day before this, and you'll hear about how I probably damaged my car on DoorDash, which I'm not going to link the video or anything like that. It's just going to be, click on my profile, and you'll see the only other video, or the video just before this. It's the first video that you'll see, because all the others are private. Anyhow, I guess that's self-sponsoring. Most people are quiet, and I had no issue driving people. Yeah, most people will probably be saying, "Hey, how's it going, Corey?" Yeah, name of person that I'm picking up. Yeah, okay. How about it? So, after that, it's just, hey, okay, well, heading to a party? Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Would you like the radio? Oh, no, it's fine. Have fun. That's how it usually goes. You're just driving the dang people there, and they're usually quiet the whole way. But it's better than people starting problems. I haven't had one of those yet. Well, someone that was in my car trying to start problems. I will say the issue with the problem person next. Actually, next. The last person I interacted with was a pain. And, okay, instead of just reading that, I'm going to tell you. Because this really sticks with me. The last time I was driving, the very last person I've dealt with, and I'm going to be doing this later today because I really need money. But I ended up parking, and almost immediately someone ended up saying, "Hey, it's a scheduled ride." I didn't notice that it said scheduled, but I was like, okay. I clicked accept. Excuse me. And I was on my way there. Halfway there, and the lady decides to call me. So I end up pulling over. I answer. I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" "Hello, my name's Corey with the Lyft," or something like that. And then she ended up saying, "Oh, well, I just wanted to cancel my ride. I don't know why you're heading over. I don't see how I can just cancel it." I informed her that there's a button at the bottom right. And she said, "Oh yeah, it's going to charge me. And I don't want to have to pay for a ride that I didn't take." And I was like, well, I mean, well, what was the issue? Because she ended up, instead of going word for word, she ended up trying to say that she was scheduling it in the morning for the PM. But the Lyft driver that she had informed her, hey, if you make this appointment and you decide not to continue it, you can always cancel it. No cost. You just click the cancel button. Which is true, from my knowledge. If you schedule a ride, then you'll be able to use it again, or you'll be able to either A, use it, or if you end up going back to it and being like, oh, let's cancel that, then you'll just cancel it. I don't believe it's going to charge you anything, but I ended up going and, what was it? Essentially because she's the one that had the issue. She ended up scheduling it. She forgot to cancel it beforehand. So realistically, that's more of an issue with what she was doing than with what I'm doing. So me canceling it, yeah, would make it to where she would get no penalty, but I would get a penalty because I just declined a ride. And that does not look good on my record on it. So, in hopes of keeping the job, I ended up saying, okay, well, I don't really know what to do, and maybe you could try calling Lyft or trying to get in contact with them, inform them about what happened, and hopefully get the money refunded. She said, oh, well, you just need to cancel it. I told her I'm still pretty new to this, but I can't really cancel that, otherwise I'm gonna have something against me. She got very mad and started to yell. Then she hung up. And I didn't even get a word in. I was ready to talk and say, I'm sorry that there's an issue, but nothing that I can really do opposed from ruin my record kind of thing. Try and be nice about it, but say, hey, I can't. This is what I'm doing to make money. This is what I'm doing to support my family. I can't do this. Otherwise it'll go against me and my family. Well, that is an issue. There should be like a little option to have it to where, hey, customer called, they're canceling instead of you're canceling, so it doesn't ding your acceptance rate. But because I had to drive up to her house, wait outside, say arrived, and then waited the 5 minutes, clicked on the call thing, waited for it to connect, hung up as soon as it, nothing. Weird Wookiee, apparently. But to where the dial tone and whatnot, ended up hanging up, so it shows, yeah, I mean, I did talk to her, even though it shows previously I talked to her, but just in case. So I ended up clicking that the fare is a no-show. I ended up getting paid for it. I was expecting like a $5 thing, but because she scheduled it, the scheduled pickups are worth a lot more. Apparently those are worth like $10 if you, as a minimum, which I think is a very nice incentive to look for the scheduled pickups. But I don't really have much more to say about it. And if you compare it to somewhere like DoorDash, it's a little bit more professional to where the map inside. DoorDash has it to where you end up going to a separate app, Google Maps, in order to use it. I have no idea how it is on Android, or not Android, iOS, but I have an Android. So, I ended up finding that Lyft is really easy to use. I don't have many recommendations other than, like, for the developers themselves, maybe have that button that says that they called, they're trying to cancel. But, let's see. Oh, and there's a little thing that says that essentially if you are doing in that week, you have a chance of you have a guaranteed this much amount of money. You have to do this many fares, this many miles, this much time. I was like, that's good, except when you combine the miles as well. I mean, the miles isn't as bad. It's more along the lines of how they identify time. Time is how long each and every trip lasts. From the moment you get it, and you're on your way to them, to the moment you drop them off. From my understanding, that's how it works. But what I know is that they're not saying, hey, if you click start driving or whatever the heck the thing on the top is, you don't start the clock there. And if someone like me is there waiting, an hour went by, oh hey, here's finally someone that wants to use the app. Click the dang button. Oh hey, yeah, awesome. And an acceptance rate. I like that too. Because you shouldn't have it to where if you are on the clock, I guess you could say, for this much time, you shouldn't be able to just say no to everyone and still get the money. That's BS. It should be a guaranteed, hey, if you have the 80% acceptance rate or whatever it is, I think that's pretty good. An 80% acceptance rate, and you end up having a certain amount of time, like on the app, for that week, I think that would be better. Otherwise, there's people like I who were just waiting for about an hour or so, nothing happened, half hour later, another half hour, hey, 2 hours, and I do my driving at night because that's the only time I could really get a fare. I do like how DoorDash has the zones to where only a certain amount of people in there at a time, but that's only good for a brick and mortar. You have to have it a little more coordinated in order for this stuff to be good, and I can't really recommend something better and somehow mix the two to where if you're driving, try and have recommended zones or something like that, to where it's like, hey, this area over here has very little, which I think they do that in a way. They have it to where they say there's a lot of fares, but there's not a lot of people, so here's plus 10% or 75% even on all fares, which is good. I like that. But I don't know, it just seems like it could use a little work. I don't know what really to add to it, but might be as good as it's gonna get. But again, that whole how to get the money at the end of the week. Oh, and another thing, I do enjoy how Lyft has it to where you just worked a day and say, my average is usually $40, or not 40, $80, because, give or take, because I'll try and be out there for a few hours at night where there's less people, and I get more fares. But there's not as much as there is during the day because, you know, daytime we're up. It's just a major pain to have it to where if there's someone doing nighttime driving, and I've had people that were actually quite talkative ended up saying, hey, I was very optimistic about using this because I didn't know who the heck would be up right now. But as soon as I said where I wanted to go, said someone was on their way to pick me up. That's awesome. And I heard that, it was like, that's why I do what I do. That and the money. Because I am broke as hell. Anyhow, financials aside, I think that it is useful for that. And maybe if you end up having it towards, if you sign up to be more of the nighttime driver, or at a certain point in the day, the drivers end up getting a certain amount for their off time. Not necessarily when they click off, but when they end up saying, hey, I'm on the clock, there's no one there, but it is a good idea for me to do this. And you could say, hey, there are 4 cars in a 10-mile radius. Right now, you get about, I don't know, freaking, even if it's 5 cents, or not 5 cents, $5 an hour. So it's like, hey, or better yet, I don't know, for however they do it, say it's like, you are the only car here in a 10-mile radius or a 20-mile radius, whatever the heck they end up doing, then have it to where it's like, hey, now you've got this much per hour on your off time, the time between fares. And if there's more people, that lowers by dividing it amongst however many people. So if there's 10 people in those 10 miles, then instead of getting, I think I said like 10 or something like that. I don't even remember what I said. I'm tired. So let's say it was 10. Then if there's 10 people, you only get like $1 an hour. That's better than nothing, but it's still an incentive to be there. But it's one of those things where you can figure out, hey, where would there be more money if I was to drive now? So if they could kind of combine the Lyft and DoorDash situation, to where if they end up having it to where how DoorDash says there's very few people here, or there's a lot of people that's asking for help, so you get a plus whatever in this area. And then if you end up saying, hey, it's plus this much in this area, and it'll say how many people there are in that area. Also good to see how many drivers are out there if you are a driver, because I had no idea why we weren't getting any rides, and then my wife ends up looking at her phone and says, oh wow, there's a lot of drivers right now. It's like, oh, daytime, of course there's a lot of drivers, especially in our very populated area. Maybe it's a good idea to try doing this at night. Much more profitable. Use less gas. Get more fares. But I don't know. There might be another video of this. And would I recommend Lyft? Not as a main job, but as an extra source of income? Yes. It seems like a fairly simple way to make money. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to think of other stuff to add to this video later. But I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I'm way too tired for that. I should probably sleep before I head out driving. But we'll see. Oh. There's something else. Oh yeah. I'll probably end up having a video on tonight's drive. If there's anything to speak of, any ideas that I have, I might rewatch this and be like, oh, forgot to talk about that. I could have talked about that too. But yeah, that seems like it. Bye.